Recording in progress. Hello. If you're watching this video, you probably want to know how you can run the code for Project 3 locally. That's right. You probably want to know how to run the code locally. And so I'm going to start from literally nothing on a computer that I didn't write the project on so that you can really have the experience of doing that, running it, right? Um, yeah, let's get straight into it. GitHub. If you're looking for our 5-minute video submission, the one that's actually graded and required, that's in our Google document. So you should go there and look at that, right? This is an unofficial video for if you want to run the code locally. You can totally do that, and you just have to follow this guide. So I do not program on this computer at all, so it'll be nice, and you should be able to do it on any computer, really. All right, so first thing to do is to pull up the GitHub. Second thing to do is to install Docker. I have Docker installed on my computer. If you do not have Docker installed on your computer, install it. It's not hard. It took me like 10 minutes. It is a little bit of a long install, and I think it requires a restart, and it's a little bit annoying. But if you've used Docker before, you're good to go. There's some instructions on using Docker, but I figured I'd make a video tutorial. This project is also just up on the web, right? But see if I can get Docker to open. My computer's a little bit slow. Docker. While that's trying to run, I'll go through the steps. First step, make sure your branch is master, right? This is the main branch. This is where working code goes. I'm going to go to a different branch. I'm going to go to dev misc pages because we're not done yet, right? This branch is 6 commits ahead of master. It's got some stuff on it. I'm working on it, you know, but when you're running this, you're going to go to master. I don't do coding on this computer. Literally, I don't have Git. Okay, I have to download a zip file. I have to download a zip file. I can't Git clone this because I don't have Git on this computer. But I do have this. So we're gonna get the code one way or another. You can Git clone it. You can do whatever you'd like. I'm gonna do this, and I'm going to extract all. Extract that. And what you'll notice here is that I've just about run out of time stalling for Docker to open. What the hell? Why isn't it opening? Docker! It's not a very fast computer. I bet running Zoom and Docker Desktop's running. Hello. Is there like a start menu shortcut I can get it to click on? Yeah, Docker Desktop maybe. I just need it to open, please. Open. I don't know what's wrong with Docker. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the recording and get Docker to open. I won't do any other steps. Right. This code's gonna You saw me download it from the GitHub. You're gonna download it from master. I downloaded it from a different branch. It's all fine. So I'll be right back when I get Docker working. Oh, that's the screen sharing being paused. How do I pause the recording? Pause, stop recording. All right. I think I'm back. I'm just checking. Yeah, I went into Task Manager and I killed Docker and then I reopened it and it opened up just fine. So just to recap, what you've done so far is you've gone to our GitHub, you've pulled the code from master down. However, you did that with a whatever kind of clone, or you just download a zip, and you also have Docker open. Okay. Next, you're going to need some kind of terminal. I like using VS Code. It has a terminal emulator. You could use PowerShell or whatever. You're just going to open a folder. You're going to go to our thing, and here it says source and public. You want the directory above that, right? So that was this one, just the directory containing the project, right? Here that is in VS Code. You know, you've got this stuff. If I open up a terminal and maybe I do a little dir, is that a Windows command? Yeah, this is kind of the stuff you should be able to see. Public source, the git ignore, right? You're in the same directory as the Docker file, right? And I'm going to move the Zoom doc out of the way. And VS Code is going to ask about the Docker extension, but we don't even need that because it's that simple. And first, we're going to run one command in the terminal, then we're all desktop. So this is the one thing you need to do. Make sure you're in this um, directory, the same directory as the Docker file. And we're just going to say Docker build. We're going to give it a name that's dash tag. I'll call it sample app. We'll make this v, version one, and you're just going to put a dot. This dot is very important. Don't forget this dot. Docker build tag, sample tag. The dot represents the file path to the Docker file, which is why it's so important that we're in the directory with the Docker file. It's right here, right? It's in this directory. It's in dot. So we're going to run this command. And for me, this won't take that long because I ran it once before because I didn't want to look like an idiot on camera, which is already what happened because Docker wouldn't load. For you, this might take up to 3 minutes. If you look at this Docker file, you're familiar with it. It's installing all of Ubuntu. It's, getting it up to date, installing some pretty big packages. Build Essentials pretty big. I'm going to include stuff like the C compiler, make for CMake. It's Ccache for caching for a better development experience when our builds will be shorter, making debugging take less time. We've got HTTP requests, um, and then we've got this copied out or commented out for reasons I'll get into. But this build will take a long time for me. Maybe on this computer it took about 5 minutes. Once it's done, here it took a little under 5 seconds, nice and cached. But that's all we need to do in the terminal, nice and easy. So I'll close out of here. And now we're going to go into Docker, which you have open. I'll just go ahead and close the file explorers that I had open, just keep everything clean. So go into Docker and we'll go into images. And you should see, because that build succeeded, you have an image here, right? It's quite big, right? It's an Ubuntu image. Um, in the future, I would have used a smaller image, but it's my first time using Docker. We're going to run this and it's going to ask us a few things. So first we'll give it some name like best project, right? The port is going to be on port 8000, right? It's a web app, so we need to serve it on a port, and that's port 8000 in the Docker file, but that doesn't mean anything to your computer. You need to bind a port on your computer to a port in the Docker file, and that's what this does. Okay, next volumes. During debugging, it was really nice for us to be able to make a change and then just have it immediately update in the Docker file, and you do that with a volume. So I'll go through it. You go to host path, you click on the three dots, and you navigate over to where the project is, right? And again, it's the same thing. You don't want to be in the one with source and public. You want to be one above, right? And you pick this one, the directory which contains those things, right? Make sure you're not two directories above. You want the directory that contains those things. And then the container path is just always going to be user, local app. It's just the same default of where to put something in Ubuntu image. I could have put it on like sudo's desktop or something silly like that, but this is a nice same default. It's also not optional that you can't change this. It must go here. And then you click run. And congratulations, you are running our code. That's it, right? You're not running it where you can just click here. You have to go to exec. And now you have the machine, right? This is an Ubuntu machine if you're familiar with Ubuntu. Um, OSLA, something like that. Yeah. So this is an Ubuntu machine. If you go to exec, you're in the terminal, right? Um, we're in user local app. We have our whole project here, and you just type make, and make will take some time. I hate to break it to you. The first time you run make, it'll take some time, and then that Ccache dependency we talked about earlier will kick in. This again will probably take about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. A lot of dependencies here, a lot of single file dependencies. Um, it's linking a lot of stuff, and I'm not sure the make file is as efficient as it could be, but it works, and that's what matters. Um, once this make file runs, you'll be able to run our code in the browser, and bada bing, bada boom, you've run it locally. So while this is running, I'll just do a little like wrap up. You went to our GitHub, you pulled the code down, you opened it in VS Code and ran docker build dash T sample app colon v1 space period. That took a few minutes to run. You opened up Docker desktop where you could now see something that looked like this, right? You clicked run, set everything up as I specified. You were taken to containers with a screen that looked about like this, and you went over to exec and you typed make, make, right? And then this was here. Um, if you want to play around with it, you can go into like main CPP and you can make a change and save it, and then run main make again. And you'll see that without having to do anything up here, no stopping, starting, or anything, you got right back into running it. And I'll go ahead and show you guys once this is done running. Um, Here we're very nearly done. I'll kill it and then rerun it, and you'll see how fast the caching is. But here we're done, right? You can click on this. It'll take you to localhost 8000, and you'll get redirected here. I'll also just show that if you go into Chrome and you type localhost 8000, you can tell I really don't use this computer because it's not cached on my Chrome. Something like that, it takes you here, right? Localhost 8000. And you can type like UF in and create a subtree search, and you can go over here and here's your console, right? You can use standard cout for printing and debugging. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for it to show that it worked. So it should be rendering on the front end now. Less than 10 seconds, I'd hope. My computer's pretty slow. So you can see we've got, the graph, pretty cool. You can traverse it if you want. You know how the project works. That's for the other videos for demoing that. And you go to About Us, and I didn't this is the work in progress part, right? But this picture is definitely staying here. But I have some more updated code on the Linux side of things on my actual machine, but I wanted to show a real like this computer's never run this code, and look how easy it is to set up. But this is still in progress, but I just wanted to show how you could get this up and running. Um, it's Monday, right? So I'm not, or we're not done yet, but the method of setting it up won't change. Hopefully you found this informative. If you were interested in running our code locally, when you're done, the Docker image is almost a gigabyte. I'd recommend clicking stop here. You must do that, low key. It'll take a minute to stop. You're going to want to delete this and then go over to images and delete the image too, because you'll save yourself about a gig of space that you're never going to use again. So yeah, I'll delete you, and I'll delete you. Hopefully you found this video informative. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Um, yeah, thank you very much. Please give me a good grade and my team a good grade. That'd be awesome. Thank you.